Welcome back to Medill Newsmakers. I'm Juliana Sherry. Thanks for joining me. Across Chicago and the state of Illinois, the demand for licensed officials is rising as the supply continues to decline. In a city as big as Chicago, there's never a lack of kids and coaches ready to step on the baseball diamond, but the shortage of patched umpires could threaten those opportunities. Making the right call isn't always the easiest choice, and for the umpires, it comes with the added pressure of potential retaliation. High competition in summer travel ball and house leagues has upped the stakes, and isn't always the players speaking out. Parent and coach behavior is most frequently cited as the main reason for the year-by-year decline in officials. In fact, the National Officiating Survey found that 89% of Illinois baseball umpires responding have faced verbal abuse in their officiating roles. Over 86% said they feel officials are treated unfairly by spectators. Since the 2010-2011 school year, the number of Illinois High School Association licensed referees and umpires has declined by about 14% across the state, according to the Chicago Tribune. The shortage is widely being attributed to coach and parent behavior, but it's not the only reason.
There's just a real big shortage right now. And a lot of people out here say, well, it's because of the way the parents are, in Little League and stuff like that. I don't buy it.
Umpire assigner Jeff Siegel says the main concern for umping has to do with age.
A lot of the older umpires are either dying off, sadly, or retiring because, they just can't go anymore. And we don't have enough young people coming up to fill the gaps.
1 year after getting his umpire license, Coleman Adams agrees on the age factor, but in a different way.
There's some officials who are really too old to be umping and can't move adequately to ump a game.
For the youth umpires, however, Adams knows how tough it can be when coaches and parents challenge a call.
You have to have a lot of self-confidence in your call and you know what you do.
For young kids unable to continue their careers on the field and in the box, umping is an avenue to stay involved in a sport they love. Joining me now to talk about this is Max Anderson, an umpire and coach in the Chicago youth system. Max, thanks for coming in. Now, you grew up playing baseball, but you've since started umping, was that 11 years ago, and now you're a coach. What is it about being an umpire that really drew you to that profession?
The first part of it was playing baseball and wanting to make a little extra money. The best way to get a part-time job is umpiring. You make your own schedule, your signer contacts you, you say I can work this day, that day, and you go from there. You show up when you can be there. Most part-time jobs, if you want to work at a restaurant or if you want to work for someone, you're said, hey, you got to work these 20 hours every single week. Well, playing baseball, a lot of activities I never had that flexibility.
So you start when you're young. You started at a young age. What age was
13.
that? 13. So you started 13. Now, a few years down the line, you're 17. You're getting officially patched with a license, better pay, better opportunities. For you, the youth system worked. What isn't working for other kids around the city?
I got to think that there's a aspect of kids not wanting to accept that maybe their baseball career is over. That wasn't necessarily the case with me, but I see it a lot where kids that maybe aren't the most talented but love the game, by the time you get to that age, that varsity level, it's no longer an option whether you're good enough or not. It's not I try hard enough, I'm going to be on the team, right? But a lot of people still, a lot of young boys in the city still have the drive for baseball, still love baseball. And the next best way to do that is to umpire. And not only do you make extra money, you're still out on the field, you're still out there during the summer, and you get to be around that environment, even if you're not the most talented. But if you've played the game for a long time, you can be an umpire. You can make good money doing it.
One thing that is clear is the shortage is clearly affecting the number of umpires at each game. Typically there's one, maybe two at max. It really depends on where you are in the city. How much does that change the game and the umpire's ability to really make that right call?
Well, pretty much my whole life, the lower levels, freshman, sophomore, high school levels, always had one official. I guess that didn't used to be the case 20 or 30 years ago, but the modern umpiring environment in the Chicago area that I know has always been that. The crazy part to me, it was never a question that varsity games have two officials. This is a high level of baseball. It is really tough for one umpire to manage everything that's going on in the field. But what I found out this year, and which is shocking to me, is there's starting to be varsity games that have one umpire. I can't imagine umpiring a spring varsity baseball game by myself. The game moves too fast. The calls are too close on a consistent basis to get the majority of them right. And as there's more calls made in a varsity game like that, you're going to miss more. And then I think it leads back to some of the problems that have been in the news as far as officiating and some of the fan officiating interaction.
Now, as a coach and an umpire, you're able to see both sides, as you've really mentioned. You've got that interesting perspective. What do you think needs to be fixed?
I think your angle on this is great in terms of starting at the youth level. Like you mentioned, the youth system worked for me. I got in early. I liked it. I liked the money. You get paid well, and you get to make your own schedule. I think when you're starting to pitch this as a job, you can really sell how it's a great part-time job. And getting people to understand that and the money that goes along with it can really help to, I think, sell and push more people towards umpiring.
Looking at some of the factors, we've talked about the parents and coaches getting in the face of some of these officials, that verbal abuse. Is that something that you experienced?
I can point to one threat I've ever gotten. It was a parking lot threat, and that was interesting. I wasn't worried. I mean, I really wasn't. I think this guy might have been even drunk at like his son's sophomore baseball game. It's part of the game when you make a call. I mean, people are going to groan. People are going to, complain. People want the call. I think part of what's happened is as officials see the news, as officials read the reports, as viral Twitter videos, right, of social media videos of officials being attacked or whatever, it's created this cycle of fear, I think, from umpires. And the slightest little thing coming from a fan, they react to it in a way that maybe isn't warranted, but somewhere in their subconscious, in the back of their mind, they saw a viral video last week of an umpire being attacked with a baseball bat or some crazy thing. So these comments that used to be commonplace when I played, kind of groaning about a call or kind of razzing an umpire, that used to be brushed off. Now we see that worldwide within a few seconds because of social media. So I think for officials, it's a little scarier than it used to be because they've seen these examples of umpires getting in real trouble.
You think that has hurt people wanting to get into umping in the first place?
It has to. I mean, I can't quantify it, but every time there's some crazy South American referee that gets attacked or whatever, we've seen those videos. I get a friend that sends it to me, and you see how horrible it is. It's not going to change me. I'm going to keep umpiring. But I got to imagine there's people out there that don't feel the same way. That local Chicago suburban dad attacks official. I mean, if you're a Chicago kid and want to umpire, that's going to freak you out.
All right, Max. Well, thanks for providing some insight into this issue. Good luck with the rest of your season.
Appreciate that.
Coming up on Medill Newsmakers, why youth programs could solve everything, and how the shortage is affecting the quality of officiating in games across the leagues.
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
At many leagues throughout Chicago, youth umpires are becoming a thing of the future. As young as age 12, kids can start umping coach pitch games in the lower levels. It allows them to get their feet wet in the world of umpires, counting the number of pitches, making calls on bases and at home plate. With low demands and an influx of kids dropping out of baseball, youth umping provides an opportunity to keep them involved in the sport with low cost to the leagues. However, the problem remains that there still aren't enough kids getting involved in the programs. As the umpire shortage continues to worsen, league games are becoming harder to staff. This begs the question, how is this affecting the league's capacity to provide games and opportunities for these baseball players? Here to talk with me about his own league's youth umpire program is Brian Capone, president of the Kenilworth-Winnetka Baseball Association. Thanks for being here, Brian.
Thanks, Julian.
How long has this youth program been a part of the KWBA?
Oh, it's been as long as I've been involved, which has been 12 years of having my kids go through the program, and it was there previously. So it's been a tradition in KWBA that we have youth umpires that, starting in 7th grade, they can actually try out. There's actually a test that they go through to test the rules. They go through a training program, and then they can stay umpires and through high school and even college to umpire our games and generate.
So parents are really at the forefront of the scrutiny on the shortage of umpires right now. As a league, are there any policies in place to try and prevent any hostile interactions between parents, coaches, and umpires?
Absolutely. In our house league, we have a zero tolerance policy, starting with coaches. A coach cannot question a youth umpire's call no matter what. They can't even make a comment about, oh, your strike zone's too big or too small. There should be none of that. Zero tolerance from coaches to our umpires. And then we also try to educate our fans that even on a close play at first base, yelling safe, that might influence the youth umpire's call to say safe, where they might have seen an out. So we try to limit the parents from making calls, ball strike, oh, good pitch, bad pitch, those type of things that might influence an umpire. So we really communicate that to all our coaches, our players, and our fans of games.
And since you've been with the KWBA, how many of those interactions between parents and umpires have you seen?
It's hard to kind of qualify how many. I think there's definitely a lot more comments that are directed at umpires, and there's been 1 or 2 confrontations I've seen kind of outside the field, which those are totally uncalled for. I feel that sometimes comments, it goes both ways. Sometimes the umpires, if they're a well-trained umpire, they maybe need to have a little thicker skin to some of the comments and not engage with a fan because they're in control of the game. They shouldn't really be engaging with a fan. I've seen more of that, which shouldn't be happening. But yeah, I definitely feel there's more of an intensity of fans toward umpires in the travel programs.
When we come back, how one league is viewing the shortage in a different light.
Why spend your entire life looking for some on-ramp to the road to opportunity when there's already a well-traveled path? So you may be wondering, what does that path look like? Is it paved with gold? Well, here's a hint. It's actually paved with purple. Northwestern University. Your road starts here.
On the near west side of Chicago, the umpire shortage isn't viewed as a problem. All that matters is letting these kids play ball.
We have a sense of community, and that's what it really is. Each team, we have a root. You cheer for your team, you don't boo the other team. So we create a family atmosphere. It's kids first. We don't care if the kids don't win a game. It doesn't matter to us, as long as they learn life lessons. We teach kids that sometimes stuff don't go right in life for you, and you just got to work your way through it. That's just part of life. Every call is not going to go your way, and you just got to hunker down and go through the next one.
I've known some of these kids for a while. It's cool. I like talk to them during the game and just joke around with them.
We don't pay them much, but it's basically to keep them safe, keep them off the street, out of trouble. There's a lot of violence in the area. And we've lost a few of the kids. A few of the kids that played for me got murdered on the streets out here.
It wouldn't be my turn next when I get their age. Kids at the 8 and 10 year olds, even the 11 to 12 year olds, look forward to being pony, then look forward to being umpires.
Most of them love it. Sam's out here all day long. Sam is what you call a gym rat. He's on the field all day long. If the sun is shining or light is on, Sam is on the field. You know, y'all the kids now, all they do is play video games. Yeah, the kids, they play video games, but now it's baseball season, I'm going to be on the baseball field. So if the kids want to be out here, we're more than glad to give them something to do out here.
So our league is just totally different because we love on the kids more than we worry about baseball or winning.
For now, the future of umping in Chicago is reliant on these youth programs. Thank you for joining me on Medill Newsmakers. I'm Juliana Sherry. Be kind and play ball.